Good afternoon, this is Skylar from Rolling Vietnam. Today, we bring you the topic of 10 common mistakes that foreign investors make in Vietnam. During the process of advising foreign investors coming to Vietnam looking to conduct business activities for the first time, we often encounter cases where the investor faces a few bumps on the road due to the fact that they have not been given proper instructions or that they have skipped basic and important legal guidelines since the beginning when establishing a new business in Vietnam. Below are our summary of some common mistakes of first-time foreign investors in Vietnam. Number 1. Transferring money from their own pockets to the company to build up capital and to cover operating costs and business investments. There are various reasons, like speculation or following the advice that the legal process of transferring money is lengthy and complicated. As a result, investors often seek shortcuts to speed up the process. Such transferring methods can cause troubles to the investor as well as the company in 1. Accounting and tax accounting. 2. The refund of money to the investor, as the company cannot deposit the refund in the investor's personal account, whether that account is in Vietnam or in a foreign country, but can only offer cash refund in Vietnamese currency. Even if it is a substantially large amount, the investor cannot transfer the fund themselves into their account in Vietnam or to abroad. 2. Violating the time of charter capital contribution of 90 days. Vietnam Enterprise Law in 2214 stipulates that within 90 days from the grant of the business registration certificate to in entirety, the business owner must fulfill their obligation to contribute capital. For foreign investors, this contribution must be made by the direct transferring of funds from the investor's account abroad into the company's account in Vietnam. The 90-day deadline is fixed and is inextensible. Many of foreign investors still violate this rule, which led to consequences in the operation of their companies, such as during the process of raising capital, increasing capital, transferring of capital, and changing the operational status of the company. 3. Using a local partner to register all legal papers. Many foreign investors chose to use the name of their partners in Vietnam to complete their company registration in the early stages without clear and reasonable legal agreements. The reason for this tendency is to speed up the process and make it less complicated, as well as cutting unnecessary costs. However, this method might lead to consequences such as the investor has invested all powers into the local partner, such as ownership of the company and the right to operate the company. Investors should consider carefully and seek appropriate advice before resorting to this method. 4. Violating compulsory requirements where the legal representative is absent from Vietnam for more than 30 days. According to the provisions of the Vietnam Enterprise Law in 2014, when the legal representative of an enterprise is out of Vietnam territory for more than 30 days, it should be noted that there must be written consent for another individual to exercise the power and obligations of the legal representative in accordance with the law during his absence, and that under any circumstances, the legal representative shall bear all responsibilities for the performance of the actions of the authorized personnel. 5. Not grasping the provisions on red invoice. In the Vietnamese accounting system, vouchers with high value and legality for an expenditure or revenue are value-added invoices with declaration and calculation of the value-added tax by the deduction method, and sales invoices, direct tax declaration and calculation. The printed versions of such invoices are red, hence the name red invoice. Please familiarize yourself with the people using the term red invoice instead of VAT invoice. When using services and purchasing goods, please ask for the red invoice, which shall be recognized as reasonable expense and deducted from the operation expenses of the business if recorded in accordance with government regulations before the tax payments arising from investment, production, and business activities. 6. Unaccounted business trips and business expenses. This is an expense payable to a person on business trips, usually including traveling expenses, accommodation allowance, room rentals, baggage allowances, even the transferring of documents, if any, meals during the business trips. For such expenses to be recognized as lawful and reasonable expenses of the company and deducted from the revenue tax, it is necessary to follow the Circular 96 from 2015. But 7. Borrowing foreign loans incorrectly. Enterprises with 100% of foreign capital when investing in Vietnam will need funding from the parent company in foreign countries or foreign organizations to implement investment projects. One of the pure speculations about borrowing is that it is based only on the voluntary basis of the parties, and that the borrower can borrow as much as they want as long as they can provide the capability to repay it. However, according to Vietnamese law, enterprises are not allowed to borrow foreign capital whenever they need it, but are only approved to borrow when satisfying the requirements. First, the purpose of taking foreign loans must be consistent with any production, business, investing projects using the foreign loan. 2. The amount of capital borrowed to start the company's project must not exceed the difference between the total investment capital and the contributed capital recorded in the investment certificate, or does not exceed the total loan demand in production, business plans, and investment projects already approved by competent authorities in accordance with the law. 3. Register the loan with the State Bank. 4. Any transactions related to the loan, such as receiving, withdrawing money, repaying loan, must be done via direct investment capital accounts. For the full article, please access www.lawlingvn.com for more information. Thank you for watching.